Hi, my name is Graeme Codrington and I'm a futurologist. No, that's not a confession, that's what I do for a living. I can't predict the future, I wish I could, but I help companies to anticipate future disruptions and to prepare for them today. I've been doing that for 20 years, but of course in 2020 our focus has been on the COVID disruption. And what I'd like to talk to you about today is not the COVID disruption, but the other disruptions that are coming our way in the 2020s and how we can prepare for them. I suppose we do need to start, though, with where we find ourselves now in the last quarter of 2020, and this has been one hell of a year, hasn't it? As we look ahead to 2021, I'm sure that we're all beginning to realize that we can't just grit our teeth and push through a few more weeks and then COVID will be gone. We're going to be dealing with COVID for at least the rest of this year and probably most of 2021. That's certainly what all the medical experts are telling us. We're unlikely to get a vaccine anytime in 2021, and even as herd immunity to COVID grows in the system, we're going to have to continue to take precautions, to physical distance, wear masks, temperature check on entrance, make sure we don't overcrowd spaces, and probably have our travel restricted, and that is likely to last through most of 2021. The politicians might not be saying that. The politicians might be living on hopes and dreams. We can't plan for that. And so disruption is key to our thinking and planning for 2021. But we need to realize that even more disruptors are coming our way. In fact, these other disruptors have been in the system for a while. If we think about that cliche label, the fourth industrial revolution, for example, digital transformation has been in the system for a while, and a lot of it is still coming. Artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, cloud, mobility, things like machine learning, data analytics, predictive analytics. And a lot of these digital disruptors are having huge impact on the communication, public relations, and marketing sectors. As we find new channels in which we can communicate, where we find new sources of information and data sets that we can connect into to hone our communications and target our public relations more effectively, and where people and the consumers of information are finding it increasingly difficult to separate out the noise from the valuable communications. Digital transformation, the fourth industrial revolution as it relates to communication technologies, is a huge disruptor in the system right now and will continue to disrupt us into the rest of the 2020s. You can add to that other disruptors like issues of geopolitics. We've got a presidential election in America, which is unlike any we've seen before. We've got Brexit still bubbling up. We've got a US-China trade war. Did you forget that that's still underway? Talking about China, you had China and India having a little border scuffle earlier this year. I don't know if that freaked you out as much as it freaked me out. In other words, wherever we look, there are significant disruptors in the system. And I'd like to suggest that some of those disruptors have even been accelerated by COVID. I mean, one of your easiest and obvious examples is the office, right? But just because it's obvious doesn't mean we shouldn't think about it, because it's going to be one of the biggest lasting legacies of COVID. For many years, people have been thinking about more flexibility, working from home. A lot of, especially younger staff members have been saying, well, why can't they do some of their work from home? And now, of course, in 2020, we were forced to do that, and we discovered we can actually do it, and maybe do it even better than we thought we could. But the real revolution is not actually the work from home revolution. Not everybody's enjoying working from home. I get that. A lot of people are surviving a crisis while stuck at home. And that's very different from setting up an office and working from home. I've done that for 20 years. I love it, but I understand that some people don't. But I think what's happened in the last few months is that we've changed, I don't even think begun to change, I think we have changed our default setting. The default setting previously was you must come into the office, there's a certain amount of hours we need you to work, and if you have to be away for a little while, well, then maybe you can be away if you very much have to, but then come back to the office as soon as possible. I think our default setting has changed in 2020, and as we head into 2021 and beyond, I think the default setting will be you can work from anywhere. I think that's the real revolution. Not necessarily work from home, but work from anywhere. And I think the default setting is now, well, work from anywhere as long as you get the work done. And if there is a compelling reason to be at the office together, well, then let's be at the office together. And I think that that's the shift that's taken place. And young people in our teams, young people at our clients are loving it. They've been wanting this for a while. And they're loving it not just because of the geography that's changed. It's not just the work from anywhere, work from home shift. It's the shift away also from measuring hours and thinking about starting times and ending times and pushing towards something we should have been doing anyway, which is only measuring people's outputs, not their inputs. That's just an example of what I think we are going to see as a lasting legacy for COVID. There are lots of other examples that we can give from shifts in geopolitics and our political situation, economic shifts that are going to impact. Global supply chains are going to change dramatically as people reconsider where they get their goods from, and they don't want to be caught out if we have another global pandemic or another global emergency. So COVID is in the system. COVID is accelerating some disruptive forces that are already in the system. And then we need to recognize that there are a whole lot of other disruptors coming our way. We've been talking about those disruptors at every conference we've been to for the last few years, and those are still in the system. In fact, they haven't looked at us and said, oh, I see you dealing with COVID, I'll come back another year. No, in fact, as I've said, many of them have been accelerated. So if all of this is now our new reality, not just for the next few months, but probably for the foreseeable future, for the rest of the 2020s and probably beyond. Well, how do we respond then? What is our response as individuals, as teams, and as an industry in the system? Well, I'd like to suggest that there are three responses that are great places to start as we think about how do we future-proof ourselves? How do we future-proof our careers? How do we future-proof the work that we do? And I think that there are three sets of skills that we need to develop in order to future-proof ourselves for a time of deep disruption. They are technical, adaptive, and mindset skills. So the first is a set of technical skills. And, you know, this isn't a training program, but I do think that it is useful to just talk a little bit about the fact that if we are going to be disrupted for an extended period of time, then, and we are going to work from home or work from anywhere for at least the foreseeable future, then if we are in communications, if we are in an environment where what we're doing right now, this speaking to a camera, this being in a virtual space, being in remote teams, is our new reality for a while, we actually have to just step it up a little bit in terms of the technical skills that we've got. You know, what does your background look like? I'm actually on a green screen, by the way, so yeah, I can just switch off my background. I'm sure you knew that. But I'm not in some super high-class studio. This over here, this sheet behind me is literally a sheet that I bought for about £20 at a linen shop, a nice big king-size double sheet that's literally just masking taped to the wall. Then I've got some lights, the type of lights that are easily available for, again, 20 or 30 pounds at the most, at your nearest shop or on Amazon. And I've set myself up with decent lighting. Again, look at YouTube videos if you don't know how to do this. Got a green screen behind me, and then can put myself into my slides, give myself a really nice background, dressed appropriately for the occasion. We've got to take this stuff seriously. And some of you are thinking, yeah, well, my company won't pay for that. Well, did your company pay for your clothes? Did your company pay for your shoes? Did your company pay for your haircuts before lockdown? No, they don't. Your company just expects you to arrive at work looking professional and appropriate for the occasion. And you do that. You make that effort. You realize the importance of that first impression, that connection that you make with somebody. That's what you're doing every day on Microsoft Teams and through Zoom and through connecting with people. You've got to take that set of technical skills to be able to present and position yourself in this virtual space. You've got to take that probably way more seriously than most of you are taking. So maybe that's not really my part to talk about, because I'm here to talk about the future and future skills. But I actually think that that's a big part of it that can set you apart from other people in the space. So get those skills. And by the way, those of you who have younger people in your team and in your environment, and hey, those of you who are even just parents and have got younger people in your home, those are the people that you can ask to help you to set up a little room in your house, to set your green screen up, and to get the technology sorted. The second set of skills is where my expertise actually lies, and that is in the issue of adaptive intelligence. If we are living at a moment of deep disruption and change, and if that's not just a moment that you power through and come out the other side and then get back to normal, if deep disruptive and structural change is the new reality of the world we live in, if once COVID is out of the system, we're going to have the next disruptor, and then the next disruptor, and then the next disruptor, and I think we all know that that's our reality now of the 2020s. Then we need to learn to adapt. Now, when we think of adaptation in the natural world, we probably think of Charles Darwin, right? And his famous saying, the survival of the fittest. Yeah, that's what you were taught at school, except it's wrong. That's not what Charles Darwin actually said. In The Origin of the Species, in his book, he actually said it's not the most intelligent or the strongest or the sexiest or the fittest that survives. When everything around you is changing, it is the organism, or let's use business language, the organization that is most adaptive to change that fares the best. We have to learn how to adapt to change, not wait for change to hit us, then adapt, and then hope nothing changes again. We've got to actually build adaptive and responsive and flexible and resilient DNA into our systems. How do you do that? Well, there are a number of skill sets that go together to provide us with adaptive intelligence or adaptive ability. I think the three most important for us to think about are that we need to distribute decision making. What I mean by that is, and most of you are in small firms or are freelancers, so you already have this benefit in the communications industry. You have the benefit of being small, of being able to make a decision and respond quickly. The larger an organization, the more hierarchical structure there likely is. And the larger the organization and the more hierarchical structure there is, the less responsive that organization is to change. That organization with their structure is very good at efficiency, at productivity, at delivering the same thing in exactly the same way over and over and over again. But that's not going to help you to be adaptive, is it? We rather need quick responsiveness to change. We need distributed decision making, where in older organizations, information, which is normally at the front line of the business where actually things are happening, information flows to where the authority is. What we need is for authority to flow to where the information is. That might even be something for you to consider, even in a small or medium-sized firm, where you need to find ways to empower your frontline staff, your people who are engaged with the actual work and are the actual client interface, to give them more decision rights, and so that you can speed up the responsiveness of your staff. If you're thinking, oh, I can't trust my team to do that, well, at least now you know what your leadership task is. It's to develop the capabilities, the competence, and the confidence in your staff to be able to respond at speed and to be adaptive by having distributed decision rights and authority where it counts. I think the second thing that we can all become more comfortable in doing is experimenting more. Actually building a culture of experimentation into our organizations. Back in June this year, I had 2 phone calls within the space of a few hours, literally on the same day, from 2 different people. And it really drove this point home to me. The first was a yoga instructor. These 2 women who are both based in Johannesburg, where I'm actually based. And we were in full lockdown from March. And in June, this yoga instructor contacted me and just said, Graeme, do you think that we're going to open up, we're going to come out of lockdown anytime this year? Her yoga studio lease was up for renewal, and she was thinking whether she should renew it or walk away. And it was a hugely difficult decision to make. This was her livelihood, her business, her passion. And eventually decided that she probably wasn't going to get back into the studio this year and should end the lease. A hugely sad phone call. A few hours later, though, a Pilates instructor contacted me, and she was just wanting to tell me what an amazing year that she was having. It hadn't started well, like the yoga instructor. In March, her studio was shut down. But what she did was she immediately started recording videos and putting the videos of 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour Pilates sessions, putting them up onto a new YouTube channel that she created. She contacted her clients, told them all that the videos were available and encouraged them to keep fit during lockdown. People did that. Then people began to share her videos. She would put a new video up every now and again, and she's just got that type of personality that just worked well on camera, and people began to share her videos, watch them. It didn't quite go viral, but a lot of people started watching them. Then people started contacting her and saying, I love your videos, but could we do a private session? I've got a particular thing I'm working on or something I'd like to do, and I'd just like to do something live with you or customized just for me. This Pilates instructor realized that all of these people were contacting her from all over the world, London, New York, Zurich. And she was smart enough to charge in foreign currency at a rate that those clients were prepared to accept. She's earning more money now than she was before and has found a new lease on life for her business. Why? Because she was prepared to try something. She was prepared to give it a go. Might not have worked. I'm sure there are a lot of yoga and Pilates instructors around the world who've put videos up that haven't worked for them. It's not a magic secret I'm giving you. I'm showing you a mindset. And you know what? That mindset didn't start in March 2020 during lockdown, where she was hustling and saying, I don't know what to do and I just got to do something. She has built DNA, experimental DNA into her system. She's always trying something new, giving something a go. She's not scared to experiment and fail, except she never thinks of it as a failure, because if something doesn't work, she says, oh well, at least I now know not to do that. She shares it with her team and with her friends who learn something from it, and then she goes and experiments again. It's become a habit for her. It's part of who she is. It's not just something she does. We have to learn that experimentation muscle, that DNA that says we are constantly trying new things. Not big new things that cost us a lot of money, take a lot of effort and energy, and will burn the place down if they don't work. In fact, if that's what you're thinking about, you haven't understood what I'm talking about. That's a business project that needs due diligence and proper care and planning. I'm talking about something that you can just try. It's not going to cost you anything, not going to break anything if it doesn't work. Reduce the experimental risk down to the smallest possible thing. Try it, see what you learn. If you fail, you've learned something. If you succeed, you've done something. It's worth it either way, right? Experimentation is absolutely key. I think that the third key to adaptive intelligence is collaboration. Our ability to connect and engage with others. I think those people that are likely to survive through the COVID crisis the best are those people with strong networks who are able to connect into those networks, create partnerships, collaborate with others. Whether it's just collaborating to learn and to share experiences and to get new insights, or whether that collaboration leads to new business, new work, new opportunities. Those people with strong networks, I think, are doing better than those without networks. And it's never too late to start building and improving and growing your network. So focus on that for the next few months. See if that helps you. So those are some of the skills that you might need to develop adaptive intelligence. But there's something else you need to do as well if you're going to not just only survive this COVID crisis, but move beyond a crisis opportunity or crisis mindset to an opportunity mindset. Your first task is to survive the crisis, but your second task is to realize what the crisis can teach us. And as we move to a more opportunity mindset, to actually take some of those adaptive skills into the new opportunities that will emerge. What I really mean is that the third skill set you need is the skill set of reimagining. You see, I'm sensing that too many people are hoping that COVID will be over soon and then we can just get on with our normal lives. Too many people are thinking, well, how do we get back to normal, back to what we wanted? And they're not reimagining or thinking, I don't like the phrase the new normal, because there's nothing normal about where we are. If this is normal, I don't want it. What we want is a next future, not a new future if you want to, but not a normal, something else, something new, something different. Let's go back to that example I was using a while ago of the office, right? I'm speaking to a lot of people asking them, do you want to go back to the office? And quite a lot are saying, yes, I think I would like to get back to the office. And I ask them why. What are you really missing about the office? And they get that wistful look in their eyes and they think, oh, the office. I'm missing interacting with people. That's the most common response. I'm missing just being able to walk over to a colleague's desk and just ask them a question and get an answer straight away. Well, first problem with that is we have a problem because I'm an extreme introvert. If I worked in an open plan office, I'd move my desk and put a pot plant to indicate very clearly I didn't want you to walk over and chat to me. I find that kind of office environment very disruptive. So for every person like you who wants to go back to the office so you can chat and interact, there's someone like me who thinks, no, I don't want that. That's too disruptive. Anyway, some of you share my pain about offices. But the point is, let's say that we are missing, even if it's not the complete disruption of the most irritating colleagues, but we are missing that getting together. I have another question to ask. Is that what your office was really like? And then I see some people pause because I think we've already romanticized what we're missing about the office or about certain parts of the world. I remember when we finished lockdown in South Africa, we got to the lowest level of lockdown and we were told, now you can go and see your family. I remember thinking, do I have to? Sorry if any of my family watch this. There's some family members I'm really missing, some I'm not. They probably know who's who. But that's the point, right? We've romanticized what the office was. Isn't this a wonderful opportunity for us? Instead of just defaulting back to the office and going back to the office as soon as we can, isn't this an opportunity for us to step back and to think, what is it that will make the office a really great place to work? And instead of just going back to how things were, can't we actually intentionally, consciously, deliberately create that office? And now, of course, you realize I'm just giving you an example because it's not just the office. It's every part of our lives and work and how we engage with our clients, what they want from us, how we want to connect with them. All of these things are open to reimagination. Maybe let me put it this way as I conclude. Let's say I asked you to improve this caterpillar. We had a brainstorm session to build a better caterpillar. I wonder what we would do. I mean, if we were a caterpillar, and we didn't like being eaten by birds so much, maybe we would say, well, make me smaller, make me less colorful, make me faster, leaner, meaner, whatever. That'd be an improvement. We could also, of course, say, if we were an artist or a photographer, like someone who took this beautiful photograph, we could say, well, make it bigger, make it more colorful. That would also be an improvement. Lots of ways to improve a caterpillar, but some of you are ahead of me, I'm sure, because a better caterpillar is a butterfly, isn't it? That's the best improvement we could make. But here's the problem. Too many of you are focused on improving what you already were doing. That's your focus year on, year out. How do we just slightly improve, just tweak a little bit, get slightly cheaper, slightly faster, slightly better? We're trying to improve the caterpillar. Even worse, if you're sitting here in this COVID crisis saying, when can we get back to how things were? That's the caterpillar thinking. Where's the butterfly? What can you do to use this COVID crisis and come out the other side with something reimagined? These are the skill sets I think we need. Technical expertise, no doubt, to do a good job of working in this new world that's emerging, adaptive expertise to help us to be able to respond to whatever changes are coming our way, but a reimagination mindset to give us the vision and the excitement of what could be on the other side. We might be finished with COVID. COVID is nowhere finished with us. We might be finished with deep disruptive change that's causing us stress. It's been a rough year. But deep disruptive change is not finished with us. That is our new reality, and we need to set ourselves up for success in the 2020s and beyond by building skill sets that are future-proof. If you'd like more information, more resources, please make sure that you get hold of me, connect with me, especially probably my YouTube channel. Our team puts up videos every other day almost with insights, short little videos that you and your team can use to help you think about what you are going to do to reimagine your futures and be successful not only next year, but in the rest of this decade. All the best of success to you and your team. I hope it goes well.